All right, let's talk about a puzzle that honestly affects every single part of our lives. Motivation. And here's the kicker. The surprising truth is, we've probably been getting it all wrong. So let's dig in and find out why.
So, let's just start with a really basic question, one I'm sure you've asked yourself a million times. How do you actually get someone to do something? Whether it's a student, an employee, your own kid, or, hey, even yourself.
I mean, the answer seems pretty obvious, doesn't it? It's the go-to strategy for, well, pretty much everyone. Parents, teachers, managers, you name it. You just offer them a reward. A bonus if you hit your sales target, a sticker on your homework. It's that classic if-then deal. If you do this, then you get that. Simple.
And look, on the surface, this simple if-then formula, it makes perfect sense, right? It's just a straightforward transaction. But, and this is a big but, when you're talking about something as complex as human motivation, that simple transaction can be, well, incredibly deceiving. And that's exactly where we stumble upon what I like to call the reward puzzle.
So just think about this for a second. What if that fundamental idea, the one that says rewards are the best way to get people to perform better, is just wrong? Like, fundamentally wrong. What if in some cases rewards don't just fail to motivate people? What if they actually make things worse?
And hey, that's not just some philosophical question I'm throwing out there. We've got decades of research showing that our gut instinct about motivation can, and often does, seriously backfire. And the story of how we figured this out, well, it starts in a place you'd probably never expect, a preschool classroom.
Okay, so picture this. It's 1973, and a couple of researchers run this really clever experiment. First, they find a bunch of preschoolers who genuinely love to draw. Like, this is what they choose to do in their free time. Then, they split these little artists into 3 groups. Group 1, they were told, hey, if you draw for us, you'll get this cool Good Player Award. Group 2 was just asked to draw, but surprise, they got an award afterward anyway. And the third group, they just drew. No award, no mention of an award, nothing.
So, a few weeks go by and the researchers come back to just watch the kids during free play. And this is where it gets absolutely fascinating. Take a look at this. The kids who got a surprise award and the kids who got no award at all, they were still drawing just as much as before. No change. But that first group, the ones who were expecting the reward, their time spent drawing just plummeted. The promise of that little certificate had literally killed their natural love for drawing. How wild is that?
The author Daniel Pink has this great quote that just nails it. He says, "Do rewards motivate people? Absolutely. They motivate people to get rewards." And that is exactly what happened here. The reward didn't make the kids love drawing more. Nope. It just made the certificate the main goal. It turned their passion into a chore, a simple transaction.
And there's actually a name for this. It's called the over-justification effect. Basically, the external reward, that shiny certificate, gave them too much justification for an activity they already love to do for its own sake. In a very real way, that Good Player Award turned their play into work. It just snuffed out that internal spark, the very thing everyone thought it would build up.
I know, it seems totally backward, right? Why on earth would a reward do that? Well, to really get it, we have to look a little deeper, kind of under the hood, at the engine of human motivation. And there's a really powerful framework that helps explain all of this. It's all about 3 core psychological needs.
Okay, so this framework is called self-determination theory, or SDT for short. It comes from these 2 researchers, Edward Deci and Richard Ryan, and their big idea is that for any of us to be truly motivated, to really thrive, we need to satisfy these 3 universal, built-in psychological needs. It's not about the external carrots and sticks. It's all about our internal fuel.
So what are these 3 needs? According to the theory, they are autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Autonomy is just our deep-down desire to be in the driver's seat of our own lives. Competence is that feeling of, hey, I'm good at this. And relatedness is our need to connect with other people. Now let's connect this back to those kids drawing. That if-then reward, it's a direct attack on their sense of autonomy. It took away their choice. Suddenly, they weren't drawing because they wanted to. They were drawing to get a prize. They felt controlled.
Okay, so if these if-then rewards can be so risky, what's the alternative? What are we supposed to do? How do we build places, workplaces, classrooms, homes, that actually create real, lasting motivation? Well, the answer is right there in those 3 psychological needs. We've got to focus on them.
So the research is pretty clear on this. The best environment for growth needs 2 key ingredients: high challenge and high support. Think about it. We need goals that stretch us, that push us just outside our comfort zone. But, and this is key, we also need to know we have the tools and the backup to actually hit those goals. When you get that combo right, you're directly feeding that deep need for competence.
And this leads to something really powerful about the environments we create. Our expectations can literally become self-fulfilling prophecies. There's this thing called the Pygmalion effect, which basically says that when you expect great things from people, they tend to rise to the occasion. But the flip side, the Golem effect, is just as real. If you have low expectations, well, you often get worse performance. And it's not magic. Our expectations actually change how we behave, how much we challenge and support the people around us.
Now, get ready for an idea that might feel a little backward at first. We usually think that you need motivation first, and then that leads to success. But a lot of the research suggests it's actually the other way around. Success is a massive driver of motivation. Just getting a win, especially an early win, fuels you for the next challenge. Every little success builds up our sense of competence and creates this awesome positive feedback loop.
Now, this doesn't mean all rewards are evil. We just have to be a lot smarter about how we use them. The really dangerous ones are those if-then rewards we talked about, the bribes. But now that rewards, they're a whole different animal. These are the unexpected thank yous that come after the work is already done. It's the difference between, if you finish this project, you'll get a bonus, and, wow, you all did an amazing job on that project. Now that it's done, I'm taking the whole team out to celebrate. See? The second one feels like recognition, not a bribe. It boosts your competence, doesn't mess with your autonomy, and that team celebration, pure relatedness.
So when we put all this evidence together, a totally new picture of motivation starts to come into focus. It's so much more complex and, frankly, so much more human than that simple carrot and stick model we've all been using for way too long.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Real, deep motivation isn't a transaction. You can't just buy it. It's more like a plant. It's a living thing that you have to cultivate. And it only grows in an environment that feeds our basic human needs for autonomy, competence, and relatedness.
And that really leaves us with one last powerful question to think about. We're always asking, how can I motivate them? But what if that's the wrong question? What if, instead, we asked, how can I create the conditions for them to motivate themselves? Just shifting that one question, it changes everything. It moves us away from being controllers and toward being cultivators of human potential. And that, it turns out, is the real secret to what truly drives us.